Good afternoon. It's Ronnie Hunter. As we approach Veterans Day, the OAB Executive Director Chris Merritt is here with Brigadier General Matthew Woodruff from the Ohio Army National Guard. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
It is. I told you earlier that I talk to rock stars a lot, but I don't talk to super important people like you all. So we are in the room with some very important people from the National Guard. We also have Staff Sergeant Alvin Holloman, Columbus area recruiter. And we also have Cadet Miles Lilly, a new OHARNG soldier, and Heidi, I met you, and then Diane Farrow, Diane, there she is, and then Sergeant First Class Tyler Mills. Back there. Okay, I thought I recognized you and your name. So we wanted to talk a little bit today as we approach Veterans Day and the things that are happening in our world and recruitment. So talk to me a little bit. We'll start with you, General Woodruff. Talk to me a little bit about what the Ohio National Guard does locally and on the ground in other locations, especially like with our recent weather and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, so one of the unique things about the Ohio Army National Guard is we're a dual functioning, dual mission component. We're, other than the Air National Guard, we're the only other one that can be called by the governor as well as by the president for federal missions. So we have soldiers deployed right now overseas on Title X federal missions, whether that's the southwest border, the National Capital Region, or over in CENTCOM's area of operations. Then we also support the state of Ohio, so whether that's the tornado in Indian Lake, Ohio, or it's debris removal in southeast Ohio after a winter storm. And then recently we supported North Carolina with a helicopter and crew to transport supplies during the aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
And that is still going on, isn't it?
For us, it's not. All of our teams from the Air and Army Guard are back from that hurricane support. And so, yeah, that'll be going on for a while because of the devastation specifically in North Carolina in particular.
I was told recently that there is a mission protecting Washington, D.C., and you all are a part of that. Kind of give me some information on how that mission
so actually
works.
I flew out to Washington, D.C. yesterday morning and got back last night and visited our Air Defense Artillery Task Force headquarters that took over the mission of the National Capital Region. So they're there to protect the skies. It was in response to 9/11. So now we have a team out there that helps to ensure that our capital is safe.
So that's been going on since 9/11.
It has. I think they were the 24th rotation. They do 1 year at a time in the National Capital Region.
That's amazing. I mean, that's commitment. And that's the one thing I don't think people understand about the military is when you sign up, I mean, you're on notice and you're on guard at all times to protect people that you don't even know. So people like me, thank you, is all I will say to you. I was telling some of your group that I have family and friends in the military, and it's been kind of part of my life to know that and know people that serve and to know the kind of fiber that makes a human that will sign up for the armed forces. So thank you all very much.
Absolutely.
Brigadier General, how is the Ohio Army National Guard different from other branches of the service? Because you've got so many other branches now, and what makes it different?
Yeah, I would say it is that state component. So if you're on the active component side, which is what most people see when they see the uniform, the camouflage uniforms, they think of the active duty soldier, airman, Marine that serves on a federal mission all the time. So they're at the call of the president, whereas for us, we're at the call of the governor as well. So when you talked about the timing of being ready all the time, for a federal mission, we usually know about a year and a half out when we're going to have a federal mission and what specific unit is going to be required to go. But when it comes to a state mission, we don't necessarily know because a tornado can happen unexpectedly. A hurricane, you usually have 3 or 4 days that you understand it's coming so that you can prepare a little bit. But it's those quick response activities, a cyber attack or a train derailment, all those things that happen instantaneously. And General Harris, who's the Adjutant General for Ohio, his motto is fight tonight. So all of our soldiers have to be ready to be called to respond to the governor's needs and the citizens of Ohio, most importantly, that we're there to bring calm, to help facilitate improvement in their area and recovery and getting back to normal life every day. So we take a lot of pride in that community connection.
So you all have families, right? Families, brothers, sisters, kids, wives, all that.
Absolutely.
How do they all feel kind of just when you have to when you're gone? There, you say, hey, so I'm going to be gone for the next 2 months. How does that affect your family?
So when I left for training, my mom, she was like, nah, I'm not going to be sad. She told me she was not going to cry and, just trying to reassure me. But, man, when I got that first chance to call her on phone time at basic, you can tell when like your mom is like upset, and I can just tell like it definitely made her like upset that I was gone. So,
it's her baby.
But it's a sacrifice though. You got to understand like when you're in the military, you're making a sacrifice being away from your family and stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just affecting you. It affects everyone around you.
Absolutely.
What kind of missions does the Ohio Army National Guard have here in Central Ohio and elsewhere in the state currently? Is there anything right now within the state of Ohio?
So active engagements that we're doing, we don't have any from the Army side that are currently ongoing that are supporting the citizens of the state of Ohio.
That's good.
That is good. and I will tell you, Ohio is very fortunate because we're not a state that has a ton of natural man-made type disasters that happen. We're prepared if those things happen. But we tend to be a donator of resources to other states that are the southeast where they have hurricanes, out west where they have wildfires. Different things like that are really what pull resources through the emergency management compacts that we have between Ohio and other states.
Right now with California, I mean, those winds and all the fire, it is crazy. So you will assist with that as far as resources and
absolutely
different things like that.
So just an example, in Columbus in particular, we have an aviation battalion. So that aviation battalion can be used to support almost anywhere around the country, depending on what the different need is. So we've delivered hay to cattle in Texas after the hurricane that kind of devastated Houston.
Yeah.
We've done supply support to North Carolina. They've done transport of personnel based on an inability to get from one place to the other. So they've done a lot of different things. We have our military police battalion that's here in Columbus. Those are at Rickenbacker. We have the Homeland Response Force that is here in the Columbus area, headquartered here. We have our civil support team. So tomorrow at the Buckeyes game, I guarantee there'll be a civil support team that's on site. And they do a lot of amazing things, work with local law enforcement and the fire departments and things like that. And then our cyber reserve, which is a combination of our cyber professionals that are in the military, as well as people that volunteer their time from their civilian lives to be in our Ohio military or cyber reserve. And they go out and support if someone happens to get compromised by a cyber attack.
And that's been an issue in the last few months. We've had a lot of problems with the police department and all that stuff, and ID and all their numbers. Let me ask you real quick. Let's see here. Cadet Miles Lilly, tell me a little bit about yourself and why did you decide to join the Ohio Army National Guard?
Well, when I wanted to go to college, or when I was in college, I felt like I wasn't really like doing like enough, right? So I kind of decided to join the National Guard so I can have like that sense of purpose, and being in it, I can say it has given me purpose because I've wanted to give back to my community, and I also wanted to serve my country. And being able to do that has definitely shown me that, like, I feel like this is truly my purpose. Like, my purpose is to help and serve my country.
Do you have a mentor right now? Do you have a current mentor that you look up to, that you work with or aspire to be sort of like? Is it too early for that?
No. Honestly, literally, it's any of the NCOs or officers that I talk to, especially like today. Like all the NCOs and officers that I talked to today, they've helped me out like tremendously, and I'm extremely grateful to have them, by my side, just to know that like I'm being taken care of.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. Sergeant Alvin Holloman, what is your experience with the Ohio Army National Guard, and why do you serve as a recruiter?
My experience with the National Guard. So I actually switched over to National Guard in 2019. I was in the reserves component. And I wanted to be able to continue to do this full time because I enjoy the military. My one thing was my family was here, my children were here, and I didn't want to continue to go back and forth or go to different states and different things like that. So I switched over to National Guard because it is a part-time service where I can stay in the state of Ohio, and I end up becoming full-time. So I enjoy that because I can be with my family. I can go home every day. I can see my children. I can put them off on the bus. And I became a full-time recruiter so that I can let those know who want to join the National Guard that they can still serve their community, work in their community, live in their community, and still be a part of their family's life.
Now, when you wake your kids up in the morning, do you go, you can't get them up, you can't get them up, you can't get them up in the morning? Do you go in and like razz them and make them get out of bed? Because my dad used to do that. I hated it, but now I miss it.
No, I don't do that. Actually, my wife has a timer on her alarm clock, and it does make songs. So she does wake up to that. I'm downstairs and I hear, Olivia, it's time to wake up. But I do not wake them up like that. No.
Banging on a
You're missing.
can.
You're missing out. You need to start doing that today.
Yeah.
You're welcome. As a recruiter, talk about how you recruit people. What's kind of the boots on the ground, how you approach people or how they approach you within the office, and what you do from the get-go, like how you sit them down and how do you talk to them and what do you say?
So I am assigned an area within Columbus. So Reynoldsburg is one of the areas that I recruit out of. We go to different high schools, Reynoldsburg High School. We do lunch displays, so we'll go in during the lunch period and we'll talk about the National Guard. We do classroom presentations when we'll go in and we'll talk about the National Guard in front of the students. We let them know the benefits that we have to offer, how they can join, the ages that they can join in, and all of the opportunity that we have for them. So typically, if we do have students that are interested, we'll set them up with an appointment to come into the office. We sit down. If they are 17 years of age, they do have to have their parents' consent in order to join. If they are 18, they do not need their parents' consent, but if they're still living in their parents' house, I typically say we still need mom and dad anyway, because you're living in their house, you have to follow their rules. But we'll have them come in the office, we'll sit down, I talk to them, I let them know what the Guard has to offer. I ask them if they have any questions. What are their future goals? Do they want to go to college? Do they want to get a trade? Do they want to just serve the community? What is it that they want to do? Because a lot of people join the military for different reasons. They don't just join for education, or they don't just join to serve. They have a purpose on what they want to join for. Once I find out what that is that they want to do, if the National Guard is the option for them, because sometimes it's not, I typically let them know what we have to do from there. Take the ASVAB test, the physical, and go from there.
If any of our listeners are interested in contacting you, how do they go about that?
If they want to contact me directly, my address is 2040 Bryce Road in Reynoldsburg, Ohio.
Okay.
Or they can go to nationalguard.com. They can fill out their information, and a local recruiter will reach out to them.
All right. What was the most difficult aspect of this command?
Well, I will tell you, I've been in 34 years. This is the best job I've ever had in the military. I get up every morning excited to serve, and to have young people like this coming into the formations with Private Lily. It's amazing to have great recruiters. I get the opportunity to work with almost 11,000 soldiers, and hopefully the things I say and do reflect the right things, and that I'm leading them in a positive way, encouraging them, and giving them the ability to be their best self. So whatever their goals are, I want to make sure that we've created an environment where they can be their best self. And if there's something in the way, we've got to get those barriers out of the way so that they can achieve their greatest self.
I think that's amazing, because now I wish I wasn't old. I would join up at at the drop of a hat. If I could work with all you, I would be all in, 100%. What was your most rewarding assignment? I read that you had started out, you signed up as medical, and then you ended up Bowling Green and all that. Kind of fill me in on that a little bit, and then the most rewarding assignment thus far in your career,
Well,
35.
it's been a really long time. So I signed up in 1990. I was a medic in the U.S. Army Reserves, and then I commissioned through Bowling Green State University and went on active duty for 13 years. Transitioned to the Guard in 2009, and I've been in the Guard ever since. And, it's hard to say what's the most impactful thing that's happened in my career. I've had great leaders throughout my career that have given me little pieces to grow, and taught me that you can never stop learning. You can never stop growing and getting better. But once again, this is the best job I've ever had. I get to work with General Harris, who's phenomenal. Like, if you want an example of how to speak publicly, how to be the right example of what a leader should be, I have that every single day that I get to just look across the office to the other side and see what he's doing. And it's inspirational. And to see what our soldiers do, whether that's in our local communities, whether it's across the nation or overseas. I got to go visit one of our units in Iraq a year ago. And I flew commercial into Erbil, Iraq, which was mind-blowing to me. I did not think I'd fly commercial into Iraq. But that's how things have changed in 20 years in Iraq, and was able to see soldiers doing amazing things, looking out for each other, taking care of each other, and conducting a mission that's critically important for the nation.
And so would you consider General Harris as your mentor, kind of, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had mentors throughout my career. He is probably one of the greatest, probably the longest mentor I've had. Because since I joined the National Guard, he's almost always been in a position that was in that mentor-mentee relationship for me. And so I've grown tremendously. I read more than I ever had. I listen to audible books. I listen to the radio. I try to do things to every day grow and get better.
What station do you listen to on occasion?
99.7,
Yeah!
The Blitz.
You can't get them up. You can't get them up. I just wanted to say thank you for your service with Veterans Day coming up on Monday. I'm so grateful and appreciative of everything that you all do. And I had mentioned earlier, while I am older and can't serve, if there's ever anything you need from my end of things, I will always be there to help. If you need somebody to do anything that's just grunt work, I'm your grunt. So I wanted to thank you one more time as we look for recruitment around Central Ohio, getting ready for Veterans Day. Huge thanks to you, Brigadier General Matthew Woodruff. I'm so grateful for your time. I was a nervous wreck because this is the cool group right here, and I'm so grateful for your time. Also, Staff Sergeant Alvin Holloman, thank you very much, and Cadet Miles Lilly, thank you very much. I very much appreciate all of your time, and happy Veterans Day on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. Thank you.